I want to share two of my favorite SEO secrets that are really straightforward to implement that can lead to some really serious revenue boosts for you in a very short period of time. The goal here is that you'll implement these things that we're going to talk about today over the next 10, 15 minutes and ultimately start seeing some really massive revenue lift in just a handful of weeks.
You're listening to Customer Growth Sessions presented by Intergrowth, where we talk through strategies to help up-and-coming e-commerce businesses bring in more customers. I'm your host, Pat Ahern. Let's jump in.
Hey listeners, welcome back to the latest episode of Customer Growth Sessions. Just me in the studio today, taking you through another one of our SEO shorts. So here's the premise behind this. Coming out of the holidays, I get it. You've gone from basically Super Bowl where sales are going like crazy, everything is bonkers, and you're just trying to figure out how to manage all these different balls that you have to juggle, to all of a sudden it's January and it seems like everything has shut down and everyone is busy. It's a very weird time in the e-com space. In my experience, it can be a time where there can be a lot of stress. Sales numbers tend to slow down and that leads to anxiety. So the whole goal of today's episode is I want to share two of my favorite SEO secrets that are really straightforward to implement that can lead to some really serious revenue boosts for you in a very short period of time. The goal here is that you'll implement these things that we're going to talk about today over the next 10, 15 minutes and ultimately start seeing some really massive revenue lift in just a handful of weeks. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, there's a lot of different jargony terms for it, so I'll throw all of them out there at once to you, but we're going to use the term product listing pages, PLPs, or I prefer the term collections pages. Now, ultimately, these are going to be the types of pages that you probably already have a few of them on your shop where products are grouped into a whole series of different sorting mechanisms. You know, Amazon is notorious for this. Any major e-com player, I would say, is going to have a whole bunch of these. So if you have any of those right now, that's great. If not, go to any website that's based on Shopify and go to their collections section of their website. You'll get a whole bunch of great examples of this. Collections pages crush it in rankings and drive huge amounts of revenue from a search side of things. And the reason why is that collections pages are ultimately like a really high quality search result page for a really relevant type of person. So picture this, you go to your favorite search engine, you are searching for, maybe you're searching for razor blades for a very specific use case, or maybe you're searching for pillows for a very specific use case. Let's go with pillows, actually. That's a better one. Pillows. Maybe you're looking for a pregnancy pillow. Maybe you're looking for a cool pillow. You're looking for a firm pillow. Whatever the specific use case is that's ideal for you, you might go to Google and you might search for best cooling pillows. What Google is typically going to show is, one, there's going to probably be at least one Amazon listing that comes up in the mix. Two, there are going to be a couple of blog articles that come up in the mix that are going to say the X best pillows of insert year, and it's going to claim that it's lab tested and they have all these great reviews and that they're unbiased in their feedback. We won't dive into that realm of things quite yet. But then you're also going to see a lot of higher name e-com brands that are going to have a series of these collections pages that pop up. You might have a really big e-com player that's going to have a cooling pillows collections page, and it's going to list out every one of their pillows that has cooling properties. Ultimately, this is a great page for users to go to because you can see in one view all of the different pillows that meet your very specific needs for you as an individual based on what you've self-selected by going to Google and searching for it. So the big benefit for e-com brands is if you roll out these types of pages on your site and you group relevant product pages accordingly, A, you make it really easy for search engines like Google to understand the different solutions that your products solve. B, you create a really great resource for ideal customers that Google wants to rank really well in search results because it provides that great experience. So here's what I recommend doing. If you have a couple really big name players in your space, go onto your favorite SEO tool, whether it be SEMrush, Ahrefs, or any of the other big ones. Look to see which of their collections pages drive the most traffic to their website, and ultimately see if it's feasible, given your current product set, for you to create a similar collections page that has the potential to steal their rankings.
If you're terrified about what AI means for how customers find you online, I have some good news for you. SEO, Meta ads, and Google ads are still going to drive the lion's share of your customers in 5 years. But these platforms are evolving. We help e-commerce brands grow and future-proof their methods of gaining new customers. Interested in hearing more? Reach out to us at intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary strategy session with our team. Once again, that's intergrowth.com/CGS. All right, back to the show.
Now, if this is total gibberish to you, reach out to me. Probably know my email by now, but pat@intergrowth.com. Happy to give you some guidance on how you can go through this process and hold your hands through it. But ultimately, what you want to do is find a handful of these different collections pages, or similarly, if you want to take an even simpler approach, trust your gut and ask yourself, what types of product collections are my customers going to find really helpful? What types of product collections do I know that people are already asking for? Build out those collections pages, add in the specific products that meet that very specific need, that very specific grouping, and ultimately allow Google to index these pages and watch your rankings soar. So I want to walk through a couple other tangible examples. If you are, let's say, in like the clothes, fashion space, anything along those lines, one really simple and great collection is make sure you have a dedicated men's page. Make sure you have a dedicated women's page. If you have clothes or shoes, let's say, for different age groups, maybe you could do a shoes for toddlers. You could do a shoes for infants or onesies for infants, t-shirts for infants, t-shirts for toddlers, t-shirts for teenagers, and the list goes on and on. Use your imagination. While it's best to rely on the data, you don't necessarily need to invest in any of these really high-end SEO tools to identify a handful of opportunities, roll these out, and see what's going to start to drive traction for you. Once you see a couple of these pages starting to take off in rankings, largely you can actually rely on your gut to say which pages are going to make for the next best collections to roll out. Now, stepping back, this is a lot of stuff that I'm recommending that you do. The reason I'm pushing for this is one of my favorite things that we will implement when we help out e-com brands on the SEO side of things. So recent case study that came into play, I'm recording this in December at this point, a little bit before we'll push it live. Back in August, we ended up doing a small SEO consultation project with one e-com brand. Call it 30 days later, everything has gone live. So beginning of September, everything's been pushed live. When we looked back on the analytics for this brand, most of the work that we did was identifying these collections pages or these PLPs that were going to be most valuable for their brand to build out. We strategized which of these collections pages were going to be most beneficial. We created those pages, we optimized those pages, and then we saw the rankings soaring for their entire site. Now, this, along with a handful of other updates, led to them going from about $2,500 in revenue in September 2024 to $13,000 in SEO revenue in September 2025. This is at a time that the rest of their business more or less stayed constant. So it's not like every area of their business 5x'd in revenue. Every area of their business was up maybe around 10% year over year, and SEO was up, you can do the math, I think that's 450%, let's call it. So that is why I want to see you do this, because it is going to lead to a ton of revenue for your business. People ask me all the time, should I be using ChatGPT to create content for my site? So here's the thing. AI is great at quickly spitting out blog content. It's also great at pissing off your following. If you've spent years building your brand and follower base, why would you risk that all with AI-generated content? At Intergrowth, we work with companies that see their brand as an asset to get more customers through human-crafted articles that your customers look for online. We master your brand voice and work with your team to write the best articles on the internet that bring you customers on autopilot from search engines like Google. Interested in hearing more? Reach out to us at intergrowth.com/CGS to book a complimentary strategy session with our team. The second area that we're going to talk about is setting up your business on Google Merchant Center. Now, if you've already set up Google Merchant Center, you can stop the recording or just fast forward a couple of minutes. Google Merchant Center is almost like setting up all of your products to be listed on like an Amazon-esque storefront where you still get to own your customers. What I mean by that is Google has their whole dedicated shopping tab, right? Where people can go and they can find products directly on Google Shopping. That data, unless it's paid ad data, is coming in directly from Google Merchant Center. So you can connect your product pages to Google's shopping feed via Merchant Center, and you can ultimately just take a portion of these sales. Now, the other thing that's really beneficial, and being in Sweden, I get to see a lot of the Swedish market versus the US market. What's fascinating to see is in the US market right now, these types of shopping listings come up very, very consistently in, call it like your typical search results. In Sweden, that trend does not happen yet, so I feel very confident saying it is going to happen in the near future. But if you're a US searcher, go to Google right now, try searching for a product, chances are you're going to see a lot of these individual like product listings actually popping up. They're typically going to be in like a carousel format, or it's going to be just like a big grouping of a whole bunch of products that you can look at all at once. That is Google Merchant Center. So the way that you're going to set this up is you are going to, assuming you have a Shopify website, you're going to install the Google and YouTube Shopify app, and then go through the setup process. Ultimately, one of the big things they're going to ask you to do is to connect your product feed to Google Merchant Center. And from there, you're then going to start seeing all of your products appear in Google Merchant Center. Now, once you've gone through this process, I would highly recommend reviewing the Merchant Center backend and make sure that there are no cases where your products have been flagged. Make sure there are no cases where Google is missing information about your business. One of the big things we can see coming into play that oftentimes really hurts visibility is if you don't have clear information about shipping policies, return policies, you name it. So one, make sure that that information is consistent across your website and the info you provide to Merchant Center. But two, make sure that Google Merchant Center knows that information, because that can really detract from your rankings if you don't have that clearly stated. So with that, we're going to wrap up from there. But again, just to recap, two big things that I highly recommend you doing because it's going to lead to a serious revenue uptick for you from the SEO side of your business. One, build out a whole bunch of these collections pages and watch the money just start pouring in as you start ranking for more and more of these keywords that your customers are typing into Google when they are looking to make a purchase. Two, make sure that you have Google Merchant Center set up for your business. With Shopify, it's going to be a really straightforward process. Again, it's Google and YouTube is the Shopify app you want to install. Most other CMSs are going to have a very clean integration that you can do with Merchant Center as well. So look into your individual CMS. I'd recommend Googling how to set up Merchant Center for a website built on insert name of your CMS. And you'll get some really great overview guides that will walk you through the process. With that, listeners, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Customer Growth Sessions. If you found it helpful, subscribe and give us a review. It helps us to grow the show. Looking for more SEO guidance on how to grow your business? Contact us at intergrowth.com/estimator or email me directly. You can reach me at pat@intergrowth.com. That's all for today. We'll see you again soon.